I send greetings to all. I deeply appreciate being nominated for this award, and I'm just so sorry I couldn't be there with you in person. Here's a particular shout out to those who were there from the class of 1966. When I started thinking about what I wanted to say today, I was struck by how our Chatham years were really the bridge between the 50s and the 60s. There we were in the fall of 1962, girls from largely middle-class backgrounds, and in what seems like the blink of an eye, we went from white gloves, panty girdles, and hats to church, doo-wop music and drive-ins, to Bob Dylan, the civil rights movement, the assassination of President Kennedy, the anti-war movement, the pill, and women's liberation. And in my mind, the role our lovely, calm, all-women's college played was to give us the strength, the skills, and the values to chart a course through all that rough water. For me, the rigorous academic environment was a shock, coming as I did from an unremarkable public high school, but I loved it, and fear of failure was a great motivator. My political science professors were endlessly challenging and tough, and the strong messages they sent that I took away with me were question everything, especially authority, and if life, like politics, is the art of the possible, approach it with tenacity and a sense of humor. Overall, the breadth and depth of our liberal arts curriculum gave us a solid platform for any career choice, and the all-women's environment made it easy to envision women as leaders because all the leaders on campus were women. As many in my class did, I joined the Peace Corps right after graduation, in part to duck any expectation of engagement or marriage on the part of my parents, and also to take a break from academia and avoid the rigors of graduate school as long as possible. My experience in Thailand, then quite a poor country, and the stark recognition of the life-threatening gap between rich and poor changed forever the lens with which I saw the world. Like many of us, my career path zigged and zagged over the intervening years, and I ultimately entered the nonprofit sector in my late 50s and helped found the organization I now run, the Initiative for Global Development. With it, I found true job love, and about the same time, remarried and found true love as well. And my wonderful retired husband does all the shopping and cooking. Life is good. So a word about my current work. The Initiative for Global Development, or IGD, started as a group of business leaders concerned about the role of the U.S. in the world post 9/11 and wanting to bring a business voice to bear on global poverty issues. IGD's core belief is that economic development and investment in poor countries by businesses seeking to invest profitably and with social impact will move the needle on reducing poverty more than any other single factor. IGD is now an international organization with a bipartisan leadership council made up of policy leaders such as former Secretaries of State Colin Powell and Madeleine Albright, and business leaders from companies such as Coca-Cola, Accenture, Cummins, and McGraw-Hill, among many others. Under their leadership, we started the Frontier 100 initiative, a network of CEOs from developed and developing countries working together to increase investment in poorer countries. We started in Africa for all the obvious reasons and now have 60-plus CEOs, half from the US and Europe, and half from some 16 African countries. And after only 2.5 years, we can claim over $300 million of potential investment capital in the pipeline that would not otherwise be there. We are carefully measuring the impact of these investments on the lives of low income as employees, suppliers, and consumers to prove that this concept works. One success story is the Cummins Company, which has revamped its African business plan, opened up new markets on the continent through partnerships formed with African CEOs, and recently announced the creation of 600 jobs in Indiana because of their international investment strategy. Another core belief of these Frontier 100 CEOs is that when business brings its social values into core business strategies, those businesses will have happier, more loyal employees, stronger brand loyalty, and ultimately will compete more successfully in the marketplace. Coca-Cola is a good example of this, and in a recent conversation I had with Neville Isdell, the former CEO and chair, he described to me how the code of social values or ethics are so baked into the DNA of Coca-Cola that now it really doesn't matter who the next CEO is, they are going to stay with the company. So this is a win-win situation and part of a virtuous circle that brings economic growth to poor countries, brings revenue back into our own economy, and helps ensure a strong U.S. role in the global marketplace. I'd like to close by circling back to Chatham and the values and principles I acquired during my 4 years, which have guided me all of my life. The three that stand out are, 1, that collaboration is a winning work style, and women are natural collaborators. A recent Harvard study showed that the single most telling variable in the success of several teams given a problem to solve was the presence of women on the team. And to that I would say, duh. The second is, be bold and question authority and know when to ask forgiveness and not permission. And I know I don't need to tell the class of 1966 that. I am still remembering a huge food fight, which included pitchers of gravy, conducted in our graduation caps and gowns in the dining room that brought the then Dean of Students to a near collapse. Finally, believe in the art of the possible, that smart, good people can successfully tackle tough problems and have impact. So thanks to all of you again. I wish I were there with you to celebrate in person, and thank you for recognizing the value of my work. One of the things I loved about Chatham was our singing. We had a song for every occasion, some of them quite inappropriate to be sure, but to all of you, let's keep on singing.